Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are talking about something deeply personal and incredibly important: the reality that life is short. Most people know this idea intellectually, but very few people truly live as if time is limited. We move through our days assuming there will always be another opportunity, another year, another perfect moment waiting for us in the future.
That's true, Anna. People spend so much time planning their future that they completely miss their present. We tell ourselves that we'll finally relax after we become successful, or that we'll enjoy life later when things become easier. But life doesn't pause while we wait for better conditions.
Exactly. And the strange thing is that most of us don't realize how quickly time is moving until something suddenly reminds us. Sometimes it's a birthday, sometimes it's losing someone we love, and sometimes it's simply looking back and realizing how much time has already passed. Those moments force us to ask uncomfortable but important questions. Questions like, am I actually living the life I want? Am I spending my time on things that matter? Am I truly present with the people I care about? I think one reason people avoid these questions is because they can feel overwhelming. It's easier to stay distracted and busy than to sit quietly and think honestly about our lives. But avoiding those questions doesn't stop time from moving forward.
And honestly, modern life makes distraction incredibly easy. People wake up and immediately check their phones. They spend hours scrolling through social media, worrying about work, and constantly comparing themselves to others.
Yes,
And after a while, people stop paying attention to their own lives. They become so focused on reacting to everything around them that they lose connection with themselves. That's why awareness is so important. One idea that really changes perspective is thinking about life in weeks instead of years. The average human life is about 80 years, which sounds like a long time. But when you convert it into weeks, it becomes around 4,160 weeks total.
and suddenly it feels very different. 4,000 weeks is not endless. When people hear that number, they realize that every week carries value and meaning.
Exactly. Imagine drawing a small box for every week of your life. Once a week passes, that box is gone forever. You never get it back.
That perspective is not meant to create fear. It's meant to create clarity. It reminds us that time is one of the most precious things we possess.
The problem is that many people live as if time is unlimited. They delay important conversations. They postpone dreams and goals, and they wait for confidence before taking action.
That's what I call the waiting trap. People constantly say things like, I'll start. And unfortunately, delay becomes a habit. Weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. Then one day, people wonder where all their time went.
That realization can be painful, but it can also become a powerful turning point. Sometimes awareness is exactly what people need to begin changing their lives.
Another major issue today is constant busyness. Modern culture often treats busyness like proof of importance. People almost feel proud when they say they are exhausted all the time.
Yes, being busy has become a status symbol. If someone says, I've been extremely busy, it almost sounds like they're saying they are valuable or successful. But busyness and meaning are not the same thing.
That's such an important distinction. Some people stay busy because slowing down feels uncomfortable. When life becomes quiet, difficult questions appear.
Questions like, am I happy with my life? Am I becoming the person I hoped to become? Am I spending enough time with the people I love?
Those questions require honesty, and honesty can be uncomfortable. But avoiding those questions doesn't solve anything.
I think many people are physically present, but mentally absent most of the time. They sit with family while thinking about work. They eat meals while scrolling on their phones.
Exactly. They move through life on autopilot. That's why learning how to be present is so important.
Presence sounds simple, but it's actually difficult in modern life. Most people are constantly distracted by notifications, stress, and endless information. Their attention is pulled in every direction.
One powerful solution is learning intentional pauses. For example, sitting quietly with a cup of coffee or tea for just a few minutes. No phone, no music, no distractions.
Just paying attention to the experience itself. The warmth of the cup, the smell of the coffee, the sound of the room, the taste of each sip. It sounds simple, but most people rarely experience moments that way anymore.
And when people finally slow down, ordinary moments begin to feel meaningful again. A quiet morning becomes peaceful. A conversation becomes deeper. Even simple experiences feel richer.
Psychologists actually say the human mind spends a huge amount of time wandering. People replay the past or imagine the future instead of experiencing the present. That mental wandering often creates stress and dissatisfaction.
And interestingly, research shows people are usually happier when they are fully focused on what they are doing. Presence itself improves emotional well-being. That's a very powerful idea.
Because it means happiness is not only about changing external circumstances. Sometimes the biggest change comes from improving the quality of our attention. The way we experience life matters enormously. Another thing people often underestimate is the importance of relationships. Long-term happiness studies consistently show that strong human connections are one of the greatest predictors of a meaningful life. Not money, not fame, not status. Relationships. That's such an important reminder. At the end of life, people rarely wish they had spent more time working. They usually wish they had spent more time loving, listening, and connecting.
Exactly. A sincere conversation can become more valuable than expensive possessions. A simple moment with family can become a lifelong memory.
I think many people assume there will always be more time with the people they love. So they delay phone calls. They postpone visits. They say, I'll reach out later.
But later is never guaranteed. That's why expressing appreciation matters now. Small words spoken at the right moment can stay with people forever.
Even saying something simple like, I'm grateful for you, can have enormous emotional impact. People often underestimate how deeply others need kindness and connection.
Human beings remember sincerity.
That's also true in communication and language learning. Many English learners believe they need perfect grammar before speaking honestly. But emotional honesty matters far more than perfect vocabulary.
Absolutely. People connect with authenticity, not perfection. Even imperfect language can create meaningful conversations when it's sincere.
Another idea I love is the power of small daily choices. People often think meaningful change requires huge, dramatic action. But real transformation usually happens slowly.
Exactly. Reading for 15 minutes every day may sound small. But over 1 year, those small sessions become hundreds of hours of learning.
The same is true for health, relationships, and habits. Tiny actions repeated consistently become powerful over time. Consistency matters more than intensity.
I think social media has confused many people about success. People see dramatic overnight transformations online and assume real growth should happen instantly. But real life rarely works that way.
Real growth is usually quiet. It's waking up early to practice something consistently. It's choosing discipline repeatedly when nobody is watching.
And honestly, that's encouraging, because it means ordinary people can create extraordinary change through simple daily actions. Small efforts are not meaningless.
At the same time, it's important not to become trapped by regret. Many people look back and feel guilty for wasting time, but guilt alone doesn't improve the future.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone delays things they later wish they had started sooner. That's part of being human.
Exactly. The important thing is learning how to begin again. Every new day creates another opportunity to move forward.
I love that phrase, begin again. It feels compassionate instead of judgmental. It reminds people they are allowed to restart.
And honestly, restarting is one of the most powerful things a person can do. You can begin again with your health. You can begin again with relationships. You can begin again with learning.
You don't need a perfect past to create a meaningful future. What matters is the direction you choose today. Small steps still move you forward.
Another thing worth discussing is comparison. Modern life encourages people to constantly compare themselves to others. That habit creates enormous anxiety and dissatisfaction.
Especially online. People compare their ordinary lives to carefully edited versions of other people's lives. That comparison is emotionally exhausting.
And usually unfair. Most people only share their highlights publicly. They rarely show fear, loneliness, uncertainty, or failure.
That's why self-awareness matters so much. If people constantly compare themselves, they lose focus on their own values and priorities. They begin living according to outside expectations.
A meaningful life requires intentional choices. People need to ask themselves, what truly matters to me? Not what impresses others, but what genuinely matters.
For some people, success means financial achievement. For others, it means peace, creativity, family, or freedom. The important thing is living according to your own values.
And values become visible through daily behavior. What we repeatedly give our attention to slowly becomes our life. Attention shapes experience.
That's such a powerful sentence. The way we spend our attention becomes the story of our lives. And honestly, most people underestimate the importance of attention.
That's why mindfulness practices can be so valuable. Not because they make life perfect, but because they help people reconnect with the present. Awareness creates choice.
Without awareness, people live automatically. They react emotionally, waste time unconsciously, and repeat unhealthy habits without noticing. Mindfulness interrupts that cycle.
Exactly. Even a few quiet minutes each day can improve clarity and emotional balance. Silence helps people hear their own thoughts again. And silence is becoming rare. Most people fill every empty moment with noise. Music, videos, notifications, podcasts, endless stimulation.
But growth often requires quiet. Some of the most important realizations happen in silence. People discover what truly matters when distractions disappear.
That's uncomfortable for many people at first. But eventually, silence becomes calming instead of frightening. It creates space for reflection.
Before we finish, I want listeners to remember something important. Life does not require perfection. You do not need to have everything figured out today.
You simply need to become a little more conscious, a little more present, a little more intentional with your time and attention.
And honestly,
Small moments matter more than people realize. A peaceful morning, a meaningful conversation, a quiet walk outside.
Those ordinary experiences often become the most valuable parts of life. Not because they are dramatic, but because they are real. Presence gives them meaning.
So, if someone listening today feels overwhelmed or lost, I hope they remember this. You do not need to transform your entire life overnight. You only need to take one meaningful step forward.
One honest conversation. One small habit. One moment of courage. That's enough to begin creating change.
And most importantly, remember that your life is happening now, not someday in the future, not after everything becomes perfect.
Every day matters. Every conversation matters. Every moment of attention matters.